No, I've got to pre-record some shows because I'm going to the Race of Champions. I ain't being facetious. I'm aware. When's the Race of Champions even? December. I think it's December 15th. Looks like Stephen Fletcher's coming on. Yeah, he's our number 9, isn't he? That is Stephen Fletcher. G off, Fletcher on. He's got a beard though. Yes. Sunderland kicking off, then playing from left to right in this second half here at Selhurst Park, in front of a packed house. Pushed up the left-hand side. Jack Rainey, the smallest man on the pitch, he's going for a header. Oh, and he's won it, surprisingly. It's a free kick, just opposite the edge of the Crystal Palace area on that far left-hand Sunderland flank. And Larson goes across to take it. He's swinging it in right-footed. Shea up there, Fletcher's up there. Can he make an instant impression? Yeah, absolutely. Just see this free kick before we go live. Swung in, back post. Oh, keeper touches it off the head of Fletcher at the back post. It's gone for a corner. This time on the Sunderland right, it'll be Adam Johnson who'll try to trot across to take it left-footed again. It'll be an in-swinger. Johnson in bright yellow boots, then takes it left-footed, it's to the back post and over everybody. That's it.
Information to the pit wall, we are 2 minutes to open pit exit for the first part of qualifying.
Across the pit straight.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Session has started. Session has started.
And that is the voice of Eduardo Freitas, who I had a long chat with at lunchtime about a number of things, including Le Mans, and we'll try and get him. He's a very private man, but I had a very interesting conversation with him at lunchtime. Always good to spend time in the company of Eduardo. He's become a real star. Let's head down to the Powered by Nissan pit lane and say good afternoon to Joe Bradley as we're ready to get the GT qualifying underway. It's 25 minutes here, Joe, and no dash to the Senna S's end of the pit lane for any of the teams.
That's a shame. We're just your pit lane team is just discussing tactics for the coming session, John. I'm gonna maintain a flat back 4, just like our home team.
Yes, absolutely.
Atmosphere building down here though, mate. I checked out the back of the pits, which is where the activity is, insofar as all the tyres are being readied in the ovens, or the heated covers, I should say, which is basically tyre racks with a cover over them and a nice big massive hairdryer blasting hot air into them. But a bit of a scoop here on Radio Le Mans. I can tell you that in the number 35 Oak Racing Morgan Nissan is the great legend that is Emerson Fittipaldi having a seat fitting. So scoop there, MO, maybe in the future. I think it's more of a.
He's going to do. He's going to do some laps in that car tonight.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, and what time is that?
We'll still be here. Don't worry.
All right, fantastic. Right, back to the job in hand, mate. GT classes, E and Pro, Pro-Am, I should say. GT E Pro and GT Am. We've got, from my tyre man Matt's telling me we've got an ambient of 30 and a track temperature of 39.
Yeah.
That's pretty hot in anybody's standard. That's pretty scorchio. So what have we got at the moment? We've certainly got a queue started already. In fact, no, we've gone green. So
we've got one car out in the track, and that is the Aston Martin number 98. No great rush out to the circuit, and it's the number 98 Aston Martin that's out there at the moment, and in that I think is Pedro Lamy. Now don't forget, we're looking for a 2-lap average of 2 drivers, so each of 2 drivers have to put in 2 laps, and then it's the average of those 4 laps that give the car. Lamy getting very, very broadside out of the horseshoe corner, and now heading up towards the last third of the lap. The 99 car sits in a long pit lane with all 4 wheels taken off, and in fact all the Astons, Joe telling me, other than that one that's out on the circuit at the moment, who is going to take the 98 car out? You'd kind of think, wouldn't you, that it would be Pedro Lamy. Right, there is a second car out there now, and it's Kamui Kobayashi qualifying the 71 Ferrari. Here comes the Pedro Lamy 98 car. So we'll get a lap time here for, right, that's 1 lap, 1:34.9. So his average, of course, is 1:34.9, if that makes sense. If you're new to this, it does take a wee time just to cycle through, because of course everybody's got to do their averages straight away. I'm very surprised, Joe, that so few people are out earlier on. Out goes the 99 Aston.
Number 99 Aston is down pit lane, John, and I'm surprised that they're not getting on with it. And it's we've got what, a 30-minute session?
25. And we're already we've used 4 minutes already.
Now what they're not taking into consideration is if we have any faux pas. What happens if during the two laps that each driver makes, he makes a faux pas? Has it got to be 2 consecutive laps or just 2 flying laps? That was a question.
If you'd been listening, you would have heard the answer to that already.
Oh really? Well, sorry mate, I can only apologise.
It's two. I know it's noisy down there.
Yeah.
It's 2 drivers, 2 flying laps minimum each. And it's the average of your fastest 2 flying laps, then averaged, if you see what I mean.
Right, so the average of the 2 fastest flying laps.
2 flying laps from each driver, averaged, and then the averaged of the 2 drivers.
Right, okay, I've got my slide rule, so I'll try and work things out as we're going.
Right. Kobayashi has the fastest single lap at the moment of 33.5, 1:34.1 for Davide Rigon in the number 81 Ferrari. If you're watching along at home on the timing and scoring, you won't get any times confirmed yet. Driver 1, lap 2 then for Pedro Lamy, 1:34.9. So he's done a 34 flat and a 34.9. So you don't have to be brilliant to work out that gives him a 34.450 as his average lap time. So 4 laps, 2 from 2 different drivers, 2 each minimum. But you can do as many as you want, of course, if you're the second driver. That looks like Bruno Senna is getting ready to go out in the 99 car. Yes, he has done. And Stuart Hall is togging up with his Sunseeker London sponsorship and Hackett London on the side of his carbon and pink helmet. So who else has gone out there? Jimmy Bruni's gone out in the 51 Ferrari. Marco Ciocci in the 61. Fernando Reis in the 50 Corvette. Nick Johnson in the Krone Racing Ferrari. Jean-Carl Vernet in the Porsche number 76. That's the IMSA car. Paolo Roberti in the Felbermeyer 88, the Proton car. Nicky Thiem in the 95 Aston, and Jamie Cameron-Walter in the 99. We still to see any of the Porsches in the prototypes, and the 97 Aston hasn't moved either. Joe Bradley is watching the Porsches.
Yeah, I've been waiting anxiously for the Porsches to join in. We've got the 91 car, Jörg Bergmeister, just left pit lane now, John, so he's starting his session now. His sister car, the 92 car, still sits waiting for its tyres to be brought out from round the back.
And that was the rumbling sound of an Aston Martin V8 going past Joseph, though that is the last of the 5 Astons, that being Stefan Mucker heading out. So the only car of the 15 GT cars that's not out there is Mark Lieb in the 92 Porsche. But I can hear that. Is that the Porsche revving up, Joe?
No, mate, that's the 41 Greaves Motorsport prototype.
I was gonna say, that didn't sound like a flat 6.
That's a Nissan engine.
Yeah. Fastest this morning, the 81 8-star Ferrari out on the circuit at the moment, and Davide Rigon with a 34.1, but then a 36.6. 38.6 is that? It is a 38.6. So what happened in that second lap? 36.6, sorry. Our timing screens are still not the best here. So he's 34.1, by far his best lap, and the 34.2 for Davide Rigon. So at the moment, Davide Rigon with a 2-lap average of 34.150. Kimi Kobayashi with a 33.1 and a 33.5. Pedro Lamy with a 33.6 and a 33.7. Bruno Senna's first flyer at 34.2. This will all play out in a minute, I promise you.
It all begins to just slot into place eventually, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I've just realised I've actually got an average here. I don't have to do it in my head, which is great. I've just got to look at a different screen, that's all.
The 81 8-star Motorsport Ferrari team getting ready for their second driver, which will be Rui Aguas to take over.
Well, that's interesting.
From that leading car.
Because Davide Rigon's only done the 2 laps and he's got a 34.205 average. So what I don't get is all 3 decimal places on the individual lap times. This will play out with 16 minutes to go. 16 minutes to go in the GT qualifying. You're listening to RadioLeMans.com and the FIAWEC.com website with sound and vision together for this qualifying session. First time we've done it in 2014. And so Kobayashi is the first of the pro cars to come into the pits. His average of 33.368. As Mark Lieb has left the pits in the 91 Porsche. So what he's gambling on, Joe, what Lieb is gambling on in the 91 Porsche is getting up to speed just as everybody else comes into the pits.
So he's going to give himself hopefully a clear track.
At least one clear lap while everybody else is either in the pits or getting back up to speed.
We've got the 71 car in, John. That's the F course of Ferrari, of course, and just coming in alongside that, just passing it, is the 81 8-star car that we mentioned. Rui Aguas now taking over from David Rigon.
So Kobayashi is out, Pedro Lamy is out, Ferrari and Aston 71 and 98 respectively. Davide Rigon out of the 81 Ferrari. Now it starts to get serious with 14 minutes and 50 seconds. Mark Lieb still to complete his first flying lap. Patrick Pilet warming up the 91 Porsche very slowly, a 37.3 on his first flyer, which would suggest to me that he is going to do more than just 2 flying laps, because he's 3.5 seconds off the pace there. In comes Aston Martin number 99, Bruno Senna's average of 33.970 for his 2 laps. It's Tony Wielander who's taken over from Kobayashi, by the way. So he is the first car out. The 71 car is the first car out on its 3rd lap out of the in fact, out of any of the cars. I suspect that, or should I say, first lap of the 2nd driver of any of the cars, because I suspect that Patrick Pilot is going to do 3 laps. Because with a 37.3 on his first lap, he can't afford not to. Paolo Roberti then in the 88 Porsche into the pits. Rui Agrish leaves. A creditable 34.2 then by that 81 8-star car. Vernet and Rees in the 76 and 50 Porsche and Corvette respectively.
I have information of eventual debris at T14, T15, some 50 centimeters from the racing line.
14 and 15 is round towards the end of the track. Last couple of corners, I think. Bruno Senna dons his Embratel sponsored cap. Matt Griffin with the Adidas triple stripes on his sun visor of his helmet gets ready to take over the 51, the 61 AF Corsa, possibly in the 51 car next year, Matt. And that's interesting, the guys at Corvette are having a look around the front of that car. Right front particularly getting some attention as the Matmut Porsche is in. Paolo Roberti out. Now what about Patrick Pilet? 34.3 on his 2nd flying lap. That's a bit more like it, but still a couple of seconds away from Wielander's best.
John, I'm going to try and jump in and get a word with Bruno Senna.
Okay.
Bruno, I'm sure you're glad to be getting on with the competitive element of the weekend.
Yeah, it's been very tough, very competitive this weekend, and for sure getting 2 laps in qualifying is never easy. So we have very good tires still. The tires are still looking very good, so hopefully Rob can have a nice average speed and we can improve our position in qualifying.
A lot of pressure though, Bruno, for the first driver out there to bring the car home and go very quickly.
Yeah, but you know, it's not only about qualifying. We know that the track is very hard on the tires, and sometimes you save your tires a bit in qualifying, you can do better in the race, but we'll see. The tires are still looking very good, so I'm hoping that we can improve our position and still have a good first stint of the race.
And your feelings about racing here at home?
It's amazing. Being at home is really exciting. We have a great support from the crowd, so I'm really looking forward to tomorrow.
As always, thanks Bruno.
Does that send chills up your spine, mate, speaking to a Senna in the Lagos?
you know me so well, Hindhoff. Tick that box for us, will you, mate?
96 Aston goes out with a completely different grille on the car to what I've seen all week. The centre section is completely blanked off. So they are, in fact, the 97 got that as well. Difficult to see from that picture. From the close-up, definitely saw the whole centre section of that distinctive Aston Martin-shaped grille. There's 2 sort of chicken wire style side screens, and the centre section absolutely solid. Very interesting that Aston have done that. It's clearly for over that. Yeah, the 97's got it as well. So that's clearly a tactic from Aston Martin, just to close up the aero a little bit. We've got just on 10 minutes still remaining, and Richie Stanaway has put in his first lap in the 98 Aston. Pedro Lamy, the first driver there, 33.4, so that's pretty good. 33.5, 33.7 and 33.4, the 3 laps at the moment that are counting for the number 98 Aston. Tony Wielander, the 33.9, has dropped 0.005 of a second behind there. 33.1, 33.5 and 33.9, the 3 counting laps for the 71 car. Rui Aguas in the AM class has a 3-lap average on the 81 car of 34.2, 607, excuse me, 34.1, 34.2, 35.4, so he's going to get quicker than that. Jimmy Bruni out and Giancarlo Fisichella in, as we have the first 4-lap average, and it's at 1:33.6 for the 71 Pro car. It's the Ferrari of AF Corsa, Tony Vilander. Now he's got 9 minutes left, so if he thinks he can better his 33.7 or his 33.9, he can stay out there and try and trim some time down. So Stanway coming around, Richie Stanway coming around now to get his 4-lap average, and goes to provisional pole position with a 1:33.4 to add to his 33.1. So 33.444, the 4-lap average for the 2 drivers in Aston number 98, sitting on provisional pole. Are you following this? I hope you are. Richie Stanaway's last lap, the fastest of that car in the qualifying, a 33.107. I need to watch 2 screens here. Mark Lieb has just done a 33.058, and that's the fastest lap completely of this session. There's a spin there for the Felbermeyer Porsche, the 88 car with Gianluca Roda at the wheel. Now the unfortunate part about this is he's just caught too much. Oh dear. Has he got away without hitting anything? No, he has not. Clouts far too much curb on the inside of the right-handed portion of the centre rest, and then didn't wind the lock off, and the right front of the car coming into light contact with the tyres on the left-hand side of the circuit, having done a complete 360. It's live qualifying from Sao-Paulo, Interlagos. At Selhurst Park, it's Palace 1, Sunderland 1, by the way, for those of you who are interested. And we're still waiting for another 4-lap time to drop in. But Mark Lieb is looking good at the moment. Rob Bell puts his first lap in a 33.7 in the number 99 Aston. Now, unfortunately, because of the way the screens are configured here, I won't be able to give you these breakdown of driver times for the prototypes, because I haven't got the prototype individual screens on our timing screen as I have for the GTE car. So it's going to be a bit more in the dark, I'm afraid, for that one. I'll just have to remember things and work it out as we go along. Stanaway crosses the line, and the fastest lap of the session, a 32.992. So that increases his lead at the top of the Pro category to 0.2 of a second over Tony Vilander in the 71 car, and that car has a 4-lap average, 2 laps by 2 drivers, of a 33.5. Doesn't have to be consecutive laps, of course, just the 2 fastest laps posted by 2 different drivers. So 4 laps to count in all, 2 from driver A, 2 from driver B. Really waiting to see what these Porsches can do. 33 flat and 33.4 for Richard Leitz. Jörg Bergmeister a 33.7 and a 33 flat. Matt Griffin to the top of the 4-lap averages of the AM category with a 1:33.598, and Nygaard goes through and sneaks it away from him by 0.013 of a second. Top 3 in AM separated by 0.031 of a second on the 4-lap averages.
Richie Stanaway on